Hello, everybody. And of course, welcome back to another episode of X Talking Ish with your boy X.
And Ish.
You already know what to do. If you are on Facebook, please make sure you like and share this broadcast. If you are on our Facebook page, please make sure you go ahead and hit that like button on our Facebook page. And as well, if you are on YouTube, please make sure you go ahead and hit that red subscribe button. And as well, go ahead and hit the notification bell so you can be notified for shows like this one in the future. Thank you for that, Ish. And as well, if you are on Twitter, go ahead and check us out on Periscope at X Talking Ish, and as well on my personal page at X_Williams81. All righty then, Ish. I was able to get through that without any tongue twisters.
Man, the first time ever.
Right, first time in a long time. I'll say that. All right, before we get into these games that we saw over the past weekend, and of course on Thursday, I'm gonna put this out here first, Ish, before we talk about anything. It is now 7 weeks into the NFL season, and this is the most baffled I've been in an NFL season since I probably watched the NFL since probably '97. Every week, there has been not one, not two, but close to probably three upsets of teams that shouldn't win that game, that wasn't even a thought of to win that game, and all of a sudden they win this game, not because they are the better team overall, probably because they're a better team. Obviously, they're a better team that day, and also they put together a great game plan and executed it well to be able to win that game. But we're, of course, going to talk about some games that happened over the weekend where nobody really expected some of these teams to win these games. And it happened, and it's raising a lot of concerns and question marks on the teams that they beat regarding playoff positioning, regarding maybe a quarterback change here or there, maybe, changes amongst either the offense or the defense. But we are about another week and a half until the midway point-ish, and we're going to start seeing teams starting to separate. And it's going to be rather interesting over the next month and a half-ish on these contenders and pretenders. Of course, I'll just throw out teams like the Jets, teams like the Giants, right? Even teams like the Seahawks, right? We're still trying to figure out, are these teams legit, or is it just first half of the season run? Well, how do you feel about that?
Wait. Hold on.
Obviously, you feel some type of way about it.
I had a brief lapse of I lost track for a little bit, and then I came back to myself. Why did you list the Giants as part of that team?
I knew you were gonna say something
Why
about
did you list the Giants as part of that, bro? They got Danny Dimes at the thing. Oh, matter of fact, everybody be on the lookout. We got shirts coming. No dinks, no dunks. Just dimes, because Danny Dimes just throws dimes all day long, baby.
First of all, you need to stop. You need to stop letting people know about our secret plans before we got folks out here take our stuff.
Hey man, yeah.
Nobody. I ain't gonna lie, I kind of like that shirt. I kind of like that shirt, but I don't. I'm not going to endorse that at all.
Nobody take that. Don't worry, X gonna be wearing that. He gonna be wearing that come the end of the season. Don't worry. Danny Dimes merch coming soon.
Let me double check and verify, because I think.
What do you verify?
I want to double check and just make sure, because I could have sworn. Let me just
There's no trademarks on it.
No, not
I'm
there,
trademarking it.
Okay, yeah, I'm tripping. Okay, yes, my bad. It's been a long season already. I was gonna say, whenever the Titans play the Giants, which happened week 1, I already, of course, lost my mind.
Yeah,
I was thinking we played later on in the season. I was gonna wear a shirt, the Danny Dimes shirt, but since that didn't happen, the shirt wasn't out there to be worn just yet. Who knows? Maybe sometime in the next 2 or 3 years, whenever the Giants play the Titans, maybe we'll do that type of bet. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the games over the weekend, and let's go ahead and let's start it off. Let's start it off with your boy Danny Dimes and the New York Giants. Took on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Giants, of course, pulled away with that win. At the time, towards the end of the third quarter, the Giants were actually down going to the fourth, and the Giants were actually able to put up 10 unanswered points to win that game. Let's be realistic. I know we joke about Danny Dimes on here all the time, but it starts with Brian Dable. It really does start with Brian Dable. It starts with him coming in and changing the culture, at least just for this year. But we saw what Robert Slade did, of course, across the pond, not literally in UK, but across the street when it comes to the New York Jets, when it comes to what he's been able to do with that team. It obviously didn't happen in just 1 year. It's year 2, and it seems as though that those building blocks are continuing to build with Brian Dable. Let's just be honest. He has a little more talent on that end, and he's able to cultivate it the way it needs to be cultivated. Could this be a resurgence year for Danny Dimes to where they actually decide to keep him? Or do the New York Giants look elsewhere? I mean, because right now, you're 6-1, you're second place in the division. And I mean, if things continue to go right, I don't expect the Eagles to be undefeated throughout the whole season. They're going to lose a game or 2, maybe even 3. Could the Giants be legit threats in the NFC East to make some noise in the playoffs? Ish?
First, let me address what you asked about them deciding to keep Danny Dimes. I mean, let me just call out a couple organizations for you. Let's look at teams like the Indianapolis Colts. Let's look at teams like the Washington Commanders. Let's look at a team like the 49ers. Let's look at a team like the New Orleans Saints.
Yep.
These are all teams who had what I would say were decent starting quarterbacks in the NFL, decided to move on from them, and look at what they got in return. The Indianapolis Colts, now you're benching Matt Ryan, you're starting Sam Ehlinger. Washington Commanders, you're benching Carson Wentz, and you starting Heinicke.
Technically, he got injured.
Sure, whatever you want to call it. We all know what Ryan Rivera already came out and said.
He has a broken finger, sir.
We already know what Rivera came out and said before on why they were losing games and why the rest of the division was playing better than them. So we'll just leave that one alone. But I mean,
you're not wrong.
Hey, when you have a quarterback in this league that is able to win you games, you don't just move away from that easily. Because as we have seen in this league time and time again, it is not easy to find a quarterback that is going to sustain and win games for you. It's very few and far between that can do that. So should the Giants stick with Danny Dimes? Unless you have a franchise-altering opportunity, damn right you sticking with Danny Dimes. You don't got a choice, okay? Now the Giants, they keep finding ways to win these games. I'm just going to say it. Nothing makes better for a playoff team than a team that knows how to weather the storm and come out on the other side. And if the Giants continue to do this week in and week out and find a way to make it into the playoffs, they will be the kind of team that you don't want to play. A team that has nothing to lose, a team that can play defense on the front 7 and can run the ball. Because as you saw this week, they had 200-yard rushers. Not 1, 2. Saquon and Mr. Danny Dimes ran for over 100 yards, okay? This team...
Take that with a grain of salt, sir.
I'm not taking it with no grain of salt. They did it against the Jaguars. Man,
like, I will be consistent when it comes to Lamar Jackson, when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, when it comes to Danny Dimes, when it comes to Josh Allen. You do not want your quarterback to be up there and rushing yards the same way with your running back. That's just my opinion, because sooner or later that quarterback is going to break down. We've seen it time and time again.
When he got to carry the team on his back, he got to do it.
Okay, all right. That dime going to turn into a wooden nickel if he keeps playing.
We'll see.
But I will agree with you though, Ish. When it comes to it is very, very hard to find a sustainable and consistent quarterback that can win you games and not lose you games. Mm-hmm. And another quarterback I was going to throw out there too, just due to retirement, Pittsburgh Steelers. We see what's going on with them.
Oh yeah, we've seen what happened with them.
Correct. And that's going to be the interesting thing moving forward with the Giants. I mean, I agree with you. I think that they stick with him. And just continue to keep building around, because from what I see with the Giants, it reminds me of the young era of Eli Manning. It reminds me literally of Eli Manning coming in there, and it wasn't pretty, but for whatever reason,
they found ways to win games,
to the playoffs, win playoff games, and win you the Super Bowl not once but twice, right? So maybe this, Eli Manning lookalike could kind of do the same thing. Greg says the Giants always winning these close games could be beneficial for them in the playoffs. He's not wrong.
Most definitely.
Fracture 10 says, what's the difference between Lamar and Danny Dimes running the ball? Just asking.
One's black and one's white.
That's Ish's answer. My answer is, like I said before, I don't want any of these quarterbacks to continue to run the ball for 8 carries, 10 carries for 100 plus yards, whatever it is. Design runs. It's Josh Allen too. Josh Allen has to stop jumping over people, or his ass gonna get lit up one of these good times. He's too good of a player to put himself in harm's way for no reason. That's all. Fracture also says Giants going to re-sign Danny Dimes to a 4-year, 105 with 50 guarantee. We'll see.
He's definitely beat out whatever Matt Ryan got from the Colts, and he got a bunch of guaranteed money over there.
Well, he's definitely guaranteed to be sitting on the bench this upcoming week. So let's go ahead and get to that game as you brought up with Matt Ryan and the Colts. Very pitiful performance from the Colts. Very pitiful. And I'll say the same with the Titans. I mean, only scoring 19 points. Now, don't get me wrong. It seems as though the Titans are trying to get back to their old scrappy ways of course, running the ball, wasting time on the clock, and winning games. But sooner or later, they're going to have to score more points than just 19 points. And don't get me wrong, the defense have been very solid all year. Their Titans are now on a 4-game winning streak, headed to Houston this Sunday to take on the Texans. That'll be an interesting matchup. As you said with the team before, when it comes to the Giants not having anything to lose, that's what the Texans are gonna do this upcoming Sunday. They're gonna try to spoil the 4-game winning streak. We'll talk about that, of course, on Sunday as well. Before this game, the Titans are in position after 7 weeks to continue to build on a divisional lead. After this win, it seems as though, for the most part, unless things just go haywire, the Titans should win the division. So this game was very, very important for both teams. The Titans, over the last 3 years now, have beaten the Colts. And for them to kind of change, it's trying to flip the script on how the Titans approach the Colts. It's very refreshing as a Titan fan, because the last 15 years, if it wasn't Peyton Manning owning the Titans, it was Andrew Luck. So after those two Goliaths have left the Colts are have just not been the same. I mean, literally every year since Frank Wright has been there, he's had a different starting quarterback. And like you spoke about, week 8, he'll be starting Sam Ehlinger. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what's going on with Indy as a whole. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they blow it up after the season is over with. When I'm talking about getting rid of Frank Wright, I mean, don't get me wrong. Look. Frank Wright is a good coach, but when are we going to start looking at the coach when it comes to what's going on in that organization, instead of just continuing to flip in and out quarterbacks that's not getting the job done?
Well, I think I don't think they get rid of him at the end of the season. Maybe it just depends on how poorly they finish. But I think for them, it's clearly been bad quarterback play. There have been some other unfortunate, situations on the team with some injuries and things of that nature that was kind of slowed that offense down as well. But I think he's going to get at least one more year to try to figure something out. Maybe bring in another veteran quarterback. I mean, we know that's what they do every offseason. So,
Tom Brady.
Like I said, maybe Tom Brady, maybe Russell Wilson.
Russell still got still got 4 more years in that deal. He ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, he and Hackett need to get the hell up out of Denver right now. But anyway, for the Titans, this is a good scrappy win. Like you said, being scrappy, they sweep the Colts yet again. That was big for this season, because unless, they just completely lose it to close the season out, they should win this division. Now, it'll be interesting to see what kind of spark Sam Ehlinger brings to that offense for Indianapolis. I'm not expecting him to light the world on fire, but I mean, we've seen crazier things this season. We'll get to it later on. But Mac Jones may be officially done in New England, and that's the whole interesting situation. So Sam Ehlinger could bring something to them that'll help them out a little bit. We'll just have to wait and see. But for the Titans, I am interested to see how they continue to progress as the season goes along. because, as you know, we always look at them as a team that you don't want to play in the playoffs because they are a second half team. They are a team that knows how to run the ball. They are a team that plays good defense. And in the playoffs, those are the kind of teams that are able to advance. So I want to see how they continue to progress, how they continue to gel together. I know Ryan Tannehill left the game kind of late, but I don't think there's anything too concerning from that.
He did leave the game in a walking boot. So that is, again, nothing too crucial. I've seen Derrick Henry in walking boots multiple times in his career. He was able to play the next week. So I'm not really too concerned with that. And to be honest with you, even if he is hurt,
I think Willis can do okay for a couple weeks.
Not even just that. The upcoming matchup, and we'll speak about it more on Sunday. The Texans are the worst rushing defense in the NFL. So if this is the game to get your rushing attack going, this will be the game to do it. So Fracture One says, I think Matt is about to retire mid-season. Colts aren't going anywhere, and he had a hell of a career trying to hang him up. Also, Nick Foles we trust, and also injuries have been the Colts' curse since Luck left. The only way injuries go away is if this Luck comes back. Look, if y'all from Houston, y'all should know who Andrew Luck daddy is. Andrew Luck don't need football. Andrew Luck do not need football.
And if you saw him at the Stanford game earlier in the season, that man has lost so much.
He looked happy.
He looked just fine.
He ain't got to lift no weights. He ain't got to worry about running no more. He is enjoying his life, and I don't think he's going to come back to football anytime soon.
Not at all.
If I had $100 million, I wouldn't even think about football. That is my opinion. I'm just being honest with you. All right, let's go ahead and move on to a guy that hasn't made $100 million just yet, but sooner or later he'll probably be getting this $100 million as well. Mr. Joey Burrow out here slanging that thing as usual, and put up almost a 500 piece on the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I expected the Bengals to win this game, but when I saw that first half stat line from Joe Burrow, I was just like, Jesus, that's how you feel? Did the Falcons talk about your mama, Joe Burrow? I'm like, what's going on over here? Because he took it personal. And could this be the start for the Bengals to get back on track and to try to make a run back to the AFC Championship game once again ish?
I mean, yeah, they definitely are starting to turn things on and turn things around. They're currently on the outside looking in, but they're tied with the Ravens at the top of the AFC North with a 4-3 record. So things are starting to heat up in that division, and the Bengals are starting to heat up at the right time. We're getting into the midseason. They're getting into midseason form. Honestly, I think it was more of poor defense from the Falcons than it was just Joe Burrow and the Bengals being that good. Not that they aren't good, but I think when they play better teams, I don't expect to see an explosion like this, but they're definitely capable of this with the kind of weapons that they have. That offense played well. The defense was playing well. They kind of let it off a little bit. And the Falcons at one point, I mean, the final score is a lot wider than what it was, because at one point the Falcons, they brought it pretty close. I mean, I think they were even within a touchdown at one point because they were fighting back a little bit.
They were down by 11 at the end of the
11 or something. I know that they were trying to get back in there. They were clawing back, but their defense really just could not stop Joe Burrow and that offense today. And I mean, if the Bengals can continue to put that kind of performance together, then yeah, they're definitely capable of getting back to the AFC Championship, to the Super Bowl. We've seen it. We know what they could do. So I'll be interested to see if they can continue this form.
The AFC, my bad to cut you off, but the AFC is what we expected the AFC to be.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's easy to put the Chiefs and the Bills in the AFC Championship game, but watch out for the Bengals. Watch out for the Titans. The Titans have been there before too. It could be Chiefs Titans. It could be Buffalo Bills Titans in the AFC Championship game. The AFC is not solidified at all just yet. It's still up there, but
you still got the Dolphins and the Jets hanging around as well. So I mean,
but the two giants right now are still the Chiefs and are still the Buffalo Bills. So at the end of the day, those two teams have earned the respect. The Bills not really as much as the Chiefs, but the Chiefs, until somebody knock those bad boys down, they are still the standard of the AFC.
Yeah.
Fracture Wanda says the great BBC, like the Playmaker calls them. Yeah, I don't know what the playmaker over there talking about, but we're gonna go ahead and move on from that comment.
Wow.
Also, Fracture says it looks like the Falcons have found a head coach. Now they just need to continue to get better.
Yep, just keep rebuilding. Keep rebuilding.
That's the Titans. That's the Titans coaching tree for you, right?
They're in a good spot.
Titans coaching tree for you. All right, let's go ahead and move on to speaking of Titans coaching tree, another coach that came from the Titans coaching tree, Mr. Matt LaFleur. Woo! I don't know about you, Ish, but seems as though Matt LaFleur might have been riding on Aaron Rodgers' coattails just for a little too long. His first couple of 3 seasons as the head coach. Now that they are in the 4th season as the head coach, things are not going the way that I think both parties expected them to go. And with that being said, Ish, I'll let you start off with this one and this game, and also the Packers and their future moving forward.
I said it before. Red alert, red alert. We're going to keep the siren is still going off. I know Aaron Rodgers came on and said he wasn't concerned, and he thought maybe this is what this team needed. Let me just go ahead and tell you right now, no, Aaron, this is not what your team needed. And no, Aaron, you are lying if you're saying you're not concerned. I know you got to say it in front of the public for the fans and everything, but let's be honest. Everybody should be concerned. If you're associated with the Packers, if you're a Packers fan, if you got anything to do with the Packers, you should be concerned. Okay, to go and to lose to the Commanders with their backup quarterback, and we know what Heineken can do, but still to lose to the Commanders, this is bad. And it's not bad just because they lost. It's the way they lost. It's the look of the team. This team looks horrible. That offense is terrible to watch. It's almost as bad as watching Justin Fields in the Chicago Bears offense. Okay, it's really bad. I hear, and it's been reported that they're calling around the league trying to get wide receiver help desperately. I don't know who you bring in the middle of the season that's going to come and help with this situation, unless it's someone that Aaron Rodgers handpicks. He clearly does not trust any other receivers that he has out there right now. They clearly don't know some of the plays. I just don't know how Green Bay turns this around. And it doesn't look like it's getting any easier.
I mean, the only way that they've tried to get somebody would be maybe DJ Moore from the Panthers. I mean, if they're going to continue to have the fire sale.
The Panthers said no.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it seems that they want to keep him. Another disgruntled receiver is with the Jets. I can't remember his name right now off the top of my head, but
Eli Moore.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes, Eli Moore spoke about how he's unhappy with his role there. But again, like you said,
now they said no.
but like you said too as well, does Aaron Rodgers even trust this guy coming in anyways? Right? Because again, we've played wide receiver, we played quarterback, and one of the main things as a quarterback when it comes to who you're throwing the ball to is, can I trust you to make this catch and to not make me look bad so I can't have a 2-interception stat line, 3-interception stat line because you can't catch the ball. So trust is a very big thing that you develop in the off season. This is not something that you develop during the season. And with that being said, that is definitely a fault of Aaron Rodgers when it comes to not getting your group together. And look, I understand people can say, "Oh, that don't do nothing." No, just because Tom Brady does it, and just because such and such does it. Look, Patty Mahomes has done it. I know. Again, Ryan Tannehill. Again, he's not. I don't think he's the greatest quarterback ever. But if you are somebody that's trying to build chemistry and trying to build something with your wide receiver group, you have to get that work in, especially in the offseason. And it seems as though that Aaron was just like, y'all can draft who y'all want to draft. As long as they in the spots that they need to be in, I'll throw in the ball. They just better catch it. And I don't think that recipe is going to be successful for them. Obviously not just in this season, but even towards next season. I mean, could we really see Aaron Rodgers get to a point where he says, "I'm done here in Green Bay for real? Like, let me move on and go."
I think so.
Maybe to San Francisco.
I think the relationship has been poor for a while now, and I think this year has kind of solidified that. If anything, I'll just make this one last point real quick about the trust and kind of where he's at in the situation. If you go back and you watch the play, the touchdown pass to Aaron Jones, where Aaron Jones makes a crazy catch in the end zone over the defender. If you watch that play, I'm almost positive that Romeo Doubs is actually open running in the slant when Aaron Rodgers scrambles out. He's wide open, and Aaron Rodgers didn't throw it to him. He looked at him and did not throw him the ball.
Hey, just 3 or 4 weeks ago, you was on the show talking about how he has a wide receiver now. He's the rookie Dobbs, and now all of a sudden he's gone away from him.
I mean, he dropped a third down conversion earlier in the game. He dropped another one that almost was intercepted. I mean, there's been too many drops, too many busted plays. I will say his lack of trust it seems somewhat warranted in when you look at some of the situations with some of these younger wide receivers where either they're off on the play in the route or they are dropping balls that should have been caught. It does seem like it's not that he's just picking on them. They are having some issues, which if they had more veteran, like a better veteran presence in the wide receiver room, maybe they don't have to lean on these younger guys as much. But because they don't have that veteran presence, I mean, because all you have is Sammy Watkins and Randall Cobb, really, you got to lean on the young guys and hope that they perform, and they're just not doing it. So,
and the thing also too about Green Bay, when they play in Wisconsin, so of course we're obviously getting to these winter months to where it's going to be even harder to catch footballs. I don't think that's another thing I don't think a lot of people even thought about when it comes to if you can't catch the ball now when the weather is perfect.
Oh, it's gonna be man, you're gonna have a hard time.
Woo! Enjoy that weather up there in Green Bay. All right, Fractuana says RELAX. Remember, that's what's the boat said. It don't matter about what the boat said. This is 2022 now. This ain't 2019 when he said that. Also, DJ or DL, I think I'm pretty sure you meant DJ Moore can help, but I don't think him alone will turn the season around. No. I agree as well. Also, Greg says the Packers upper management looks terrible in regards to this, especially with the offseason issues between them and Aaron Egers. That's Egers. My boy Egers. I'm messing with him. Also, the Packers organization has found Aaron Rodgers, no doubt. All the offseason issues they had with him trying to come back, they could have done a better job at managing this situation. What it really comes down to with both those, Aaron and the management, it comes down to egos.
Yep.
That's really what it comes down to. Because all of this stuff could have been taken care of and been ironed out and moved along, but
they should have split a long time ago. Let's just be honest.
Oh, no, I at least probably 2 or 3 years ago. I agree on that. But that's here nor there. Let's go ahead and move on to another disappointing performance by a legendary quarterback who's, of course, obviously going to walk to the Hall of Fame, who's going to obviously be one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever touch a football.
I thought PJ Walker played well.
Anywho, but Tom Brady, those 7 rings are not going to save you this year. Those almost 100,000 yards, 100,000 career passing yards are not going to save you from the Panthers. And Tom Brady just got another wake-up call when it comes to playing in the NFL. Any given Sunday, no matter who you are, the Panthers took it personal. They took it personal when it comes to looking at that Vegas line. They saw that they were a 13-point underdog and at home. And the Panthers said, okay, cool. We're going to go ahead and beat y'all by 18-ish. The game started off funky when Tom Brady threw I won't say wide open, but a very catchable ball to be able to walk into the end zone to Mike Evans. After that drop, it seems as though that was a foreshadowing of what was going to happen for the rest of that game. And the Bucs could not, as you see, the Bucs did not score a touchdown. This game, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I was lost for words. I obviously didn't expect this. We obviously picked the Bucs. The Panthers are having a fire sale. You fire your coach. You get rid of 2 of your best players. I mean, there's no you're down to your third string quarterback. I mean, obviously, right? The Bucs are going to win this game. So now we are where we're at. Please give me your take about this game, and also, is this game shows more about the Buccaneers or the Carolina Panthers?
It shows us more about the Buccaneers. The Panthers are just a team that has nothing to lose, so they're gonna come out and everybody's gonna get their best shot moving forward, right? Like they're coming out. Some of these people are playing for spots. Some of these people are playing for contracts to other places.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these people, hey, I'm a guy that I'm just not gonna let somebody just beat up on me or let people disrespect me. And like you said, that line coming out at home, that was mad disrespectful. So I think it shows us more about the Bucs. There are a lot of concerns with the Bucs. The Bucs are not the team that they were last year or even the year before. Luckily for them, they play in the AFC South, which that division is absolutely god awful this year. We were talking about the NFC East for a long time. Well, welcome to the new version, because Tampa Bay still leading the division at 3-4.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay is still at the top of the division.
See, it's funny you bring up the division, because remember, after week 1 of the NFL season, everybody was getting on the AFC South, right? And rightfully so. I understand that the AFC South has not been one of the better divisions in the last 15 years. I got that. We're now into week 7. We'll start week 8 on Thursday. And like you said, it seems as though maybe the NFC South, if not the NFC South, then
no, it's the NFC South.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think.
It's the NFC South. It's not even close. It's the NFC South.
Yeah, so
they're the only division without a team with a winning record.
Yeah. I'll leave it alone on that one. Yeah. So you are correct. It is the NFC South.
Now the good news for them is they have the easiest schedules going forward. The Falcons have the easiest schedule. The Buccaneers have the second easiest schedule. The Panthers have the 9th easiest schedule going forward. So they are possibly going to see an uptick in performances moving forward. I'm not sure, because Tampa Bay, they've got some real flaws here and some real issues. Not to mention they've got that good old injury bug hitting them at the same time. But when you look at what they got left, I mean, you got Baltimore and LA and the Rams coming up, which those are going to be some testers. You got the Seahawks, which we kind of don't know. But then you got the Browns, you got the Saints, you got the 49ers. Those are kind of toss-up games. You got the Bengals, which they can be hot. You got the Cardinals, which we all know the Cardinals in the second half. You got the Panthers, and you got the Falcons. A lot of those games, divisional games. If you play in your division, I mean, we already talked about how the division is bad. So someone is going to come out on top of this division. And, I mean, really, the road to that is beating the other people in the division. So that's a good thing for the NFC South right now.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I know it won't be the New Orleans Saints that win the division because apparently anytime I pick them to win, they want to just shit in my face. So, yeah. But anyways, Fracture One says, is it time to start questioning Todd Bowles? The team as a whole is undisciplined and their defense is playing well below their potential. Greg also says, people are blaming Todd Bowles, and I get it, but Tom Brady looks old and terrible. Also, Tom Brady looks this way with added days off during the week as well.
So I'm so happy that Greg said that, because let's be honest. This team is not the team that won the Super Bowl.
That's something that, of course, Todd Bowles has said already. Mm-hmm.
And people had that expectation of this team. And now they're going to blame Todd Bowles when we all should have known this is not that team. They had some clear issues going into the season. They had concerns that we were able to identify going into the season. They had people returning from injury coming into the season. So this is not a team. It's not like Todd Bowles inherited the Super Bowl winning Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No, he inherited a team that had clear issues and were clearly trying to fill some holes. So let's not look at Todd Bowles and just jump on him all of a sudden as if he inherited the Super Bowl Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because he didn't. But we want to treat it as if he did. And this is one of the problems that we have in this league when minority coaches take over some of these roles, because you put them in a spot where it's not I'm unfortunately to say there's no way he was going to be successful unless he won a Super Bowl, because everybody's going to look at it as if this is the Super Bowl winning Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they're not. They cannot run the ball. They wanted to move on from Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette does not look like the Leonard Fournette that everybody thought he was.
I mean, he came in the camp overweight anyway. So I mean that right there.
Tom Brady doesn't look like the Tom Brady everybody thought he
was. Can I say something about Tom Brady? Can I say something about Tom Brady? He is throwing for 1,900 yards at the moment, 67%. He's throwing for 8 touchdowns and only 1 interception. I'm not saying that it is not his fault, and I'm not saying that stat line is good enough to obviously win enough games to be in the NFC Championship game. But when it comes to his age, being 45 years old and throwing for what he's throwing at the moment, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not good enough, because Tom Brady's expectations and standards are, very high, and what we expected everything to be perfect from him. So it's just interesting to see how this all plays out. I feel as though this team will be a second half team. I think they'll start getting things rolling more once the second half gets here. But I definitely agree regarding the Leonard Fournette stuff. I never believed in Leonard Fournette for this season. I'm not really too big on Leonard Fournette catching footballs out of the backfield. After this year's over, obviously Tom Brady's going to retire. Hopefully, maybe we'll see. And then we'll see what Todd Bowles looks like with a constructed team that he wants to construct.
So let me say this. Real quick to Fracture Walnut, who's saying he inherited a team that went to the NFC, that made it to the NFC Championship game. We made a comment about the defense earlier, right? Playing well below their potential.
Yep.
They're 5th in points against. They're 7th in total yards. Okay. They are 6th against the pass. They have listen to how many points they've given up in games. The first game they gave up 3 points. The second game they gave up 10 points. The third game which they lost, they gave up 14 points. Is that not should you not win a game where you only give up 14 points? The only game where they played poorly was against the Kansas City Chiefs, where they gave up 41, because then they came back against Atlanta. They only gave up 15 points. They only gave up 20 points against the Steelers. Should you not win a game in the NFL where you only give up 20 points? They only gave up 21 against the Panthers. Like, this offense is clearly the problem. Tom Brady, this offense, that offensive line, Leonard Fournette in the running backs, Mike Evans in the wide receivers dropping the ball. It is not a defensive problem. This team is holding people under 21 points. Your offense has got to score points at some point in this league to win games. Your defense cannot win the game for you. I mean, we've talked about it over and over again. Teams like to say, oh, defense win you championship. Yeah, your defense can win you a championship, but your defense can't. I mean, they at some point are going to let somebody score. And it's the NFL. Everyone has talent. There's no way you're holding a team to 0 or 10 points every single game. What more can you ask from this defense when they're holding people under 21 points? I just think that we need to be realistic when we're looking at the Bucs and evaluating them. Tom Brady and that offensive line need to be better.
Hey, yes, you're not wrong on everything that you said. Let's go ahead and finish it off with Fracture on a statement. He says, with that statement you just made, I still point my finger at Bowles for not making sure the team as a whole is ready and focused to play. So we'll go ahead and leave it at that one after week 7. We'll check in on the Bucs, of course, after week 8. We'll check on them.
They got the second easiest schedule, so we'll see how that turns around.
We shall see. All right, let's go ahead and get to, of course, our segments. If I was a betting man, and If I was
How
a
much
betting
money did
man,
we
I would
lose
have
this week?
I would have lost a lot of money this past week because lordy, my bets did not come through as they're supposed to. Money line was on the Browns to win. Obviously, they did not do that. Ravens won that game. We'll get into that game shortly. Also had over under 1.5 passing touchdowns for Danny Dimes. And of course, he only threw for 1 touchdown. So lost money on that as well. And of course, over under 0.5 interception for Tua. I said over. And of course, Tua throws 0 interceptions, even though there were 4 balls that hit. What's the name in the face? Steelers players in the face. And they, of course, did not want to drop that interception. So, with that being said, they dropped the interception. I dropped the money, and that's how that is. Also, as well, on Prime Picks as well, if you want to, of course, go ahead and copy down that promo code, you're more than welcome to, of course, do that. Matt Ryan, I had over under 248.5. I had over. He had 246. Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, Derek Carr over under 250.5. He didn't even get close to it. Jonathan Taylor over under 70.5. I had the under. He was under 70.5. And Buccaneers, just as we just talked about, again coming into that game, I thought it was gonna be a sack fest. It clearly was not. They finished the game off with just 1 sack. So with that being said, this is just a reflection ish of football season. This past football season, when it comes to nothing makes sense.
Yeah,
nobody wants to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. The teams that are not supposed to beat teams, they keep on beating them. So next week, best believe there will be some upset picks. I don't know who I'm picking at the moment, but there will be some upset picks. So let's go ahead and get back into the games. Browns, Ravens. Ish, I'll let you go ahead and start off with this one.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens won the game at home. It was a big game. They needed to win it against a divisional foe. I mean, I don't think there's anything else that needs to be said about that. The question that I had coming out of this game was not anything about the Ravens, because I expected them to do what they're doing. I think they're playing well enough to win some of these games. But the question I had coming out of this game was, how bad are the Browns going to be by the time Deshaun Watson comes back? Because I think a lot of people thought Jacoby Brissett was going to be a nice game manager to just kind of, coast them along, not necessarily be lighting the world on fire, but doing just enough to keep them in the playoff hunt for Deshaun Watson to come back. And then he would take over what was, a close to or already a playoff team. Yeah, it's not looking like that right now. It's not looking like that. To be honest, in the AFC, you're about maybe 2-3 more losses to being out of the playoff hunt 100%. I mean,
you already have 4 losses on the season. I mean,
yeah.
We're not even halfway. We're not even halfway to the season. And it's not like Watson's going to come in and just literally take you from week 11 and win every game until week 18. That's not going to happen. I mean, the first game that he comes back against the Texans, that might be an L just because of all the emotion that's going on, and he might not even be focused to be able to play that game, right? So, if you're relying on Watson to come in and save the season, that's not going to happen. Now, if you're a Browns fan, organization, whatever it is, when it comes to looking at the Browns, if you get to week 11 and you already lost 7-8 games, you might as well just go ahead and get ready for next year. You might as well just use these games to get Watson acclimated back to playing football once again, and just go ahead and just start getting ready for next season, because not just with the division, honestly, but just the AFC as a whole, you're not good enough. Just, it is what it is. So right now you are looking up to the Ravens and the Bengals. And like I said, if you're 7 losses, maybe even 8 losses by the time week 11 gets here, might as well just go ahead and wave the towel.
I mean, it's not looking good. And as Gridiron points out, they lost Njoku. Losing Njoku has been Brissett's favorite target. That's not a good look, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know. The funny thing about it is the stats aren't like bad when you look at the offense per se. They got the 6th best offense in total yards, 10th best in scoring and points for. So it's not horrible, but at the same time, it just when you watch them, I don't see that. Like the stats say that, but when you watch them, I just don't see it. It doesn't look like that to me. They don't look like a team that's even close to competing.
Yeah, not at all.
And
on both sides of the ball too.
On both sides, you're right. On both sides of the ball, and the defense was supposed to be
the strength. It was supposed to be the strength, and then behind them was supposed to be the running back group. And it's just, I don't know, man. It just does not look like the Browns this season. And let's be real, nobody expected really the Browns to try to make a run at it, and that was with or without Watson this year. So we'll see what happens. One thing I want to bring up this besides the comment, because he is correct. Losing Njoku definitely doesn't help their cause, because also he's on my fantasy team, so that's going to hurt me. But I do love this handle that he has. Is it Grid Iron? Oh, IC, or is it Grid Ironic? I think it's Grid Ironic.
Grid Ironic.
I like that. That's what I'm saying. I like that. So shout out to Grid Ironic for tuning in on YouTube. We appreciate the view as always. Fracture One also says Jacoby has a good 3 to 4 games in him, then it's downhill from there. He also says, and I love it because that Browns pick keeps getting better and better.
That's true. For Texas fans, you want them to keep losing.
I mean, let's just be real. Are the Texans?
But I mean, y'all not gonna.
Are the Texans really going anyway? That's all I'm saying. Are they really going to capitalize on the pick?
Y'all gonna pick Will Levis as y'all gonna pick Will Levis as your quarterback or something? Y'all probably won't even pick a quarterback.
We appreciate the love, Grid Ironic. We've been here for a little bit. You're more than welcome, of course, tune in to the show as always on Tuesdays at 9:00 p.m. and on Sundays we do our preview show to preview weekly matchups in the NFL. So again, we're almost done for tonight. We have about 15 minutes before we get off the air for tonight. Let's go ahead and finish up these games with the Jets and the Broncos. Even though the Jets were a 1.5-point favorite. Let's just be real. There's a lot of people still still don't know if the Jets mojo is real or not. But we do know that the Broncos are definitely not good. So at least we know for sure that the Broncos are not good, and the Jets are trying to continue to ascend and get better week in and week out. We know about the Broncos. That's set in stone. We know about them. But for the Jets, could they really make the playoffs this year? So you got to think about it, right? You got to think about it.
Hold on. I'm trying to look at their schedule and decide. This is a tough question.
Well, hurry it up. The viewers are waiting. Don't take all day.
I don't think they'll make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. But again, though, that's not a failing type of season, because in reality, nobody expected the Jets to even make.
Not at all. They didn't even expect them.
But if you can win 7, 8, maybe even 9 games, I mean, you're already 5-2, right? I mean, so it's not hard to win 2 more games over the next 10 weeks. It's possible, but I mean, right now you are literally half a game away from number 1 spot in the AFC East. You are technically better than the Dolphins in the standings wise, but is this magic going to continue to where we get into week 13, 14, 15, and they are, 8-3, 9-4, something like that? I mean, could that really be a legit record for the Jets moving forward?
Well, I think so. I'm looking at the record, right? And I think this team going to pick up James Robinson after the unfortunate loss of Breece Hall.
Thank you for bringing that up.
That was a big, declaration of their intention, right? Like they're actually trying to make the playoffs this year. They're not just going to say, oh, well, it was a good try, guys. We'll wait till next year. No, they are actually, pushing it. The thing is, next week we're going to find out a lot, right? Because New England historically has kind of had the Jets number.
Yeah.
Very much. Even though it's going to be a home game, it's going to be interesting to see how they play that game. If they're able to come out with a win there, that really is going to go a long way for them, because then they play New England on the road a couple weeks later after their bye week, and that will be a little bit easier if you're able to win your home version, because splitting with New England, I think
that's a win.
If you said they were going to do that before the season, all Jets fans would say, okay, right?
Yeah.
The problem they still have, though, they got Buffalo twice.
Yeah.
They got Buffalo twice.
So we're gonna see how real they are real soon, too.
They do have the Bears, which I think they'll win that game. I expect them to win the Bears game. They got Minnesota on the road. Now, which Minnesota team they play is going to be the big thing, because we don't know how Minnesota's going to – they're kind of up and down. We all know how Captain America is.
Stop disrespecting Captain America. They're 5-1 right now. There ain't no up and down. It's nothing but going up, sir. Stop disrespecting Captain Kurt America, okay?
Yeah, whatever. They got the Lions, which I think that's a win, and I think the Jags is another win that they got. And then they got the Seahawks on the road, which we don't know what kind of Seahawks team they're going to face. And then they got the Dolphins on the road. So, I mean, it's a possibility, but we'll have to wait and see. As far as, do I think Hackett has the hottest seat in the NFL? 100%. 100%.
I mean, it's easy to say that now that, of course, Matt Rule is gone. Matt Rule, of course.
Oh yeah, well, Matt Rule, his was
definitely was the hottest seat at the time. But yes, I think we can all agree it probably is Hackett, because it looks like he's just oblivious to being a head coach at the moment.
I don't think Reich's seat is quite as hot yet. I think his seat is warming, but I think there are other factors.
It's warmer than just warming. It's there.
I still think it's warming. I think with the way Indy is, that organization, I just don't see them pulling the trigger on him unless the season just ends horribly. Like, unless they go out and just
remember, this is the same organization just a year ago. All you had to do was beat the Jags to make the playoffs. Frank Wright was the head coach. It wasn't like they switched out head coaches over the last year.
I mean,
sooner or later, you're going to have to look at Frank Wright
being out for the first couple of weeks.
You're not wrong. Look, you're not wrong. But everybody in the league has to make adjustments, because everybody has people that are injured as well, too.
I just don't see that organization just doing that with him, because I think if Matt Ryan were playing a little bit better and they were losing, maybe. But I feel like he's just going to point to the fact that nobody thought Matt Ryan was going to be this bad, right? Do I get a pass for Matt Ryan just coming in and stinking up the joint this bad? Like, none of us thought he was going to be this bad.
I mean, again, sooner or later, you as the head coach have to take some responsibility for you. Okay, and you. I feel as though he should have. I mean, he okayed this acquisition. I mean, I feel as though management talked to Frank Wright about, hey, we're going to bring in Matt Ryan.
You yourself, everyone out here who knows the game of football, none of us expected Matt Ryan to be this bad.
You're not wrong.
I think we all thought,
we assume he's going to be okay and not bad. But yes, he looks fucking horrible. You're not wrong.
I mean, you're not wrong. This is horrible. I mean, I think he can point to that and say, we did not expect it to be like this, you know?
You see what you did? You starting up this Zappy stuff. Fractal Runner says they have to play Captain Zappy twice and Allen twice. I don't think so. I'll give them wins against Lions, Jags, and Dolphins to end the season. First of all, Zappy might not even start. Mac Jones might be
start
starter
Zappy
once again. And of course, if you want to be happy, you have to start Zappy, in the words of Ish. So we'll see what happens with that. Let's go ahead and move on. We got a couple more games before we get up out of here. Texans, Raiders. Let's be real. Not really too much to talk about. Texans doing the same old, same old. Yep. I talked about this on the Sunday show. The Raiders have to win this game or their season's over with. They did. We'll see what happens moving from them. Maybe this could be a game that helps them momentum-wise get things back on track. Josh Jacobs had 3 touchdowns in that game.
So they don't feel as bad about themselves because they're not making playoffs, bro.
You're not wrong on that, but again, the Raiders were a team last year where they were able to bring everything together and still make a second-half run with all the distractions that they had. So
yeah, I don't think these fools.
We'll see what happens. Seahawks and Chargers, another interesting game that I feel as though that people probably didn't expect that to happen. Now, people picked the Seahawks to win-ish, but not by 2 touchdowns. That's my point.
Ooh. Yeah, in LA, I was not expecting it to be a 2-touchdown victory.
That's all I'm
But
saying.
then again, I'm not. But hold on, I'm not completely surprised. I told you this LA team had problems. I told you
You're
going
right.
into this game that they needed to figure some things out. They just didn't look like the team that we all thought they were going to be coming into the season, and that still holds true. They've got a lot of problems on this team. They've got a lot of injuries now. I mean, you got to look at it and consider you got Keenan Allen, who's been struggling. Now you got all these other injuries that your team has picked up. Are they going to be able to right the ship, I guess, so to speak, going after this bye week? Because you luck into a bye week here because you really got to figure out some things and turn things around because you haven't looked that great, even with the 3 wins before this loss. I don't know. I'm a little, from watching them, I'm a little concerned at this LA team because even Herbert, I don't think Herbert has looked as great as we thought he was going to be. So I'm happy that they got the Falcons to start out after the bye week, but then you got the 49ers, the Chiefs, the Cardinals, the Raiders. I mean, you're going to be playing some pretty tough teams coming back from the bye week. I don't know if LA is going to be able to do it. I hope there's a turnaround after the bye week, but
you're not wrong. But I will say the bye week is the best thing that could happen for the Chargers right now. Hopefully they can get Keenan Allen back in and maybe re-energize not just the offense, but hopefully the rest of the team. Fracture Walnut makes a great comment because this is something I've said over the last week or two. He says it's time to crown Geno comeback player of the year. But at the same time, Chargers are walking on nubs right now, aka they are just a skeleton crew right now. But I will say, and I've said this before, if you are a franchise generational quarterback, you have to put the team on your back and find a way to win the games that you're not supposed to win.
You got to do something.
This is not the game that happened for Justin Herbert when it comes to, winning this game. That let's just be real. Home games, you have to protect home field. You have to win home games.
You have to.
That's just something that they didn't do. And with the Chargers, again, with their second half of the season, depending on how they finish off, Brandon Staley, question marks on him. I don't see him making the rest of the season if they continue to lose games that it is not supposed to. Grid Ironic says the Chargers are completely baffling this season considering their talent level. I 1,000% agree.
I agree. I picked them to win the division as a Chiefs fan.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. The bye week coming now for the Chargers is the best thing.
I mean, they got to hit the reset button.
It seems. I mean, we're most of us are all on the same page regarding that team. We'll see what happens. And speaking of course, the AFC West, we go into, of course, the reigning champs and also, of course, Ish's favorite team, the Kansas City Chiefs, went into San Francisco, Palo Alto, and took care of the 49ers very handily by 21 points, even though they were a 1-point favorite. Even with the addition for Chris McCaffrey coming to the 49ers, that obviously was not enough for the 49ers to beat the Chiefs at home. Ish, I'll go ahead and throw this to you. How you feel about this game? And overall, when it comes to the Chiefs, how do you feel about them coming together?
I mean, I'm just looking for improvement. I'm looking for them to head in the right direction, put the right sorts of pieces together as they go through the season to just get ready for the inevitable matchup, whether it be with the Bills, the Bengals, whoever. They're going to have to get, revenge tour coming soon in the playoffs. Really, that's all it is. I thought the first half was a really good first half game. The 49ers played well, but like I was saying earlier, you can only lean on your defense for so long, right? Especially against a team like the Chiefs. Eventually, that offense is going to be able to find something to be able to put points on the board, and you have to match that. And Jimmy G and this offense, hopefully with time, Christian McCaffrey is able to kind of gel into the system, and they're able to figure out what they want to do with him and Debo and Kittle and Ayuk. But my main concern at the moment, Debo Samuel, 5 receptions, 42 yards. Are we starting to think that Kyle Shanahan is maybe doing too much?
Overthinking and not simplifying is what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I try to point it out in the preview show. They've been doing all this moving around the Deebo Samuel. They want him to be a running back. They want him to be a tight end. They want him to be a slot receiver, outside receiver, all these things. But you're not actually getting him the ball. I mean, 5 receptions for 42 yards, 1 rush for 2 yards. This is supposed to be like your game-breaking game changer on offense, and that's all you can do with him. At some point, I mean, are we blaming Jimmy G or are we blaming Kyle Shanahan?
I mean, it kind of goes back to the Tampa Bay situation and maybe even the, some of these other team situations with the Giants when it comes to, how much stock are we putting into the coach, when it comes to changing for the good or for the bad this organization. Again, Kyle Shanahan, for the most part, the past 3 years have been pretty good. Every coach can have a down year. I know it sounds crazy for some people, but yes, a good coach is allowed to have 1 or 2 down years. But for the 49ers, like you said, when it comes to all of the interchangeable pieces that they have, that they can switch a whole bunch of Swiss Army knives throughout the offense, that goes from being a luxury to then also being a downfall because you're not relying on that one person to do one thing. Deebo can catch the ball in space and go make plays. I mean, then of course that's on you, Kyle Shanahan, to make plays for him to get him open. We know you can do it. We've seen it happen before. So let's stop getting cute and let's try to get back to the basics of 49er football, and then they'll be fine. Like I said, this is another team that in the second half of the season usually gets better. We talked about that since week 1 of the NFL season. Am I worried about the 49ers? Honestly, not so much, just due to that division that they're in is still a free
and their defense, right? Like they've got a top defense.
So I'm not worried about them too much. It's just like you said, the offense needs to figure out how to simplify it.
Well, that's the concern.
You'll be fine. I mean, Jimmy, look, it'll be different. It'll be different if it was a quarterback that, and I'm not even using Trey Lance. I'm just saying it'd be different if it was a quarterback like a Matt Ryan that they brought in, right? And he's just out here stinging up the joint. At least with Jimmy G for that team, they know where they can at least go, either an NFC Championship game or even the Super Bowl. The biggest holdup for all of that really is, Jimmy, can you be consistent in a regular season so you can get us to the postseason? Because right now, you might be throwing away.
That's the concern now,
you
right?
might be throwing it away before we even get there. So let's get to the postseason, Jimmy. Let's help everybody get to the postseason, and then we can move on from there. Because then after that, it's just a 1-game playoff.
Well,
as long as you're good that 1 game, that's all that matters.
And just to close it out and wrap it up, my last point is that concern that I have about him maybe overthinking it. Adding a piece like Christian McCaffrey doesn't help, because you added another versatile piece,
and he feels as though he has to get the ball too. He has to.
I feel like he feels like he's gonna have to figure all these different ways to get him the ball, and it's like, if anything, that's the last thing you needed. You didn't need another Swiss Army knife. What you needed was to make sure that your system was simplified and that you were good at doing what you've done before, right?
Yeah.
Running the ball and setting up the play action or setting up these intermediate passes that Jimmy G can kind of get you down the field, manage the drive, and that's how you're successful. All these other things that you've been doing, the reverses to Deebo lining up in the backfield, all these other things. I mean, I think like you've built up this idea of how great you are of an offensive coach, and now you're trying to do all these things that I just think take away from what we've known the 49ers to be good at, which is they can run the ball, and then they are able to hit that big play or that intermediate play to Ayuk or Deebo Samuel to get them a little bit further down the field.
Yeah. You're not wrong. All right, let's go ahead and talk about that next week. Let's go ahead and finish it up with Sunday night football game, Steelers versus Dolphins. Of course, all the headlines that were in that game. Brian Flores, of course, returning back to Miami. Of course, 50th anniversary of the perfect season. And, of course, obviously Tua coming back from his concussion on Thursday Night Football just 3 weeks ago. Short and sweet. Tua looked good. I mean, I'm just being honest too. Not just that he looked good. Let's just be honest, Ish. When Tua plays, the whole team, it seems like, is energized. Now that's something that we'll have to talk to Landon about. Of course, we if you tuned into the show, you do know that Landon Roberts sometimes from time to time joins the show, and that's something that we'll have to talk to them about when it comes to Tua being QB1. It seems as though it energized not the offense but also the defense as well too, and they play up to they play to a different level when Tua's at the helm compared to anybody else. So with that being said, Ish, what was your takeaways from this game? And also, are the Dolphins back now because Tua is QB1?
Yeah, like you said, there's definitely a lift in that team when Tua plays, and I think that you clearly saw that. I was expecting a response, but I didn't expect him to come out and look as good as he did. I think he looked decent. I don't think he looked like he did earlier in the season, but he still looked good for somebody coming off of the situation that he's returning from.
Yeah.
So that is encouraging for the Dolphins. Are they back? It's hard to say because they played such a bad team. I think the Steelers are just bad this year. I'm sorry to say it. It hurts me. Mike Tomlin, I think he's a great coach. I think he normally has the Steelers ready to play. And they were ready to play this game. They were fighting. They were in the game for the most part. But that team's just bad. I don't think they're a team that they're able to win these kind of games right now because they don't necessarily have that talent. And I think they are also rebuilding that sort of Steeler mentality. I think that we've kind of hit that point now where all the players that were there before and really built that mentality have kind of left the organization.
Oh yeah.
And now they're trying to find that again, right?
Find that
and
identity.
Missing TJ Watt is definitely a big downside.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think we'll know a little bit more with Miami in the coming weeks. We just need to see them against a better team. I think.
I like this comment Fracture one that said because it's something that I thought about as well too. He said when he tried to truck that guy, I knew he was okay.
Yeah, for sure.
What he pretty much was Fracture one was pretty much saying because Fracture played football with us as well when it comes to when you are timid and worried about the injury that you had prior to, and you're getting back on the field and you're hesitant to make a cut. Because I've had torn meniscus before. I've had torn ACL, and you're hesitant to make a cut because you're worried about your knee giving out. I know you've had your own, your own string of injuries as well too, to where if you're worried and thinking about that, it affects your play. And it seems as though that Tua didn't let the concussion or even the outside noise dictate how he plays football. Like he stated, I've been wired like this since I was a kid.
Yep.
I can't just now stop what I've been doing since I was 6, 7, 8 years old, just because people around me want me to be safe. Like I've been doing this for however many years now. Like if I have to continue to play this, if not, I won't be as good of a player that I am. So we'll see what happens. As always, we pray for not just Tua, we pray for everybody around the world that plays football. No matter if you're professional level or, of course, little league, everybody has to be safe and everybody enjoy their football while they're doing it. And we'll finish it off with Monday Night Football, the Bears and Patriots. To finish off this Week 7, another game where we assume that, hey, the Patriots are at home and should be no reason why the Bears win this game. And from the beginning of the game-ish, the Bears were in control. The Bears were the one that were dictating this game. And you can blame Belichick all you want to. Justin Fields said, I'm going to come in there and show y'all boys how to play some Bear football. Ish.
Nah, I blame Belichick. Like I said before the game started, I thought I picked the Patriots because I thought Zappe was starting. I didn't think Mac Jones needed to come back and start. Mac Jones started. He looked bad. And we saw what happened when Zappe came in. I texted you, I think, as soon as the first drive he came in, I said, if your offense looked crappy, should have started Zappe. My boy Zappe came in, but it was a little too late. I think the momentum was with Chicago at that point. Even with him coming in and turning it around with those first two drives and having the touchdowns, I just think that Chicago, they just needed this game and they really wanted it, and the momentum was there for them, so they got it. Congratulations to them. I think it's two teams that are still trying to figure out what they want to do. The Patriots are closer to being contenders. The Bears, I still don't think that they know what they want to do on the offensive side. Although we did see them.
The Patriots are not the only thing. The Patriots are close to being contender is because of the defense. The offense is not there at all.
So they're closer to being contenders. I mean, whatever you want to say, they're closer to being contenders. Anyway, sir. The Bears did move more towards what Justin Fields was successful with in college.
I agree.
They tried to move him around. They were doing a little bit more on offense. Maybe we see a little bit more of this. And if we do, it might be good for the Bears. They might be able to get a couple more wins. Now, if I were them, I'd probably be tanking because you need more weapons. But hey, get some wins. We'll see what happens. And maybe you build on this for next season. I think that's all they're trying to do at this point is figure out what they got with Justin Fields and build on whatever scheme they can figure out by the end of the season for next season.
I'm not mad at that take at all, sir. All right, another episode of Week 7 recap.
Another recap, man.
Y'all can join us on Sunday for, of course, our NFL preview of Week 8. Before we get up out of here, Gridironic, my apologies. He says, I think the Bears were amped to not have Belichick take House's record against them.
That's a good point. Hey, that's a good point.
Great in rushing, and I definitely respect that take.
Not against us. That's what they said
at all. But yes, I was watching that game on the Manning cast yesterday, and it seems as though that the NFL made this game, the Monday Night Football game, on purpose because they kind of saw that maybe Belichick might be able to pass up George House or have already passed him up so we can celebrate him playing against the Bears. So I definitely understand strategic product placement for the NFL on that one. So with that being said, once again, we are going to go ahead and get up out of here for tonight. We appreciate y'all for joining us. Go ahead and check us out on our podcast. You can go ahead and tune into that on all streaming platforms. Y'all can, of course, tune in and check us out on Sunday as we preview Week 8 of the NFL season. As always, we appreciate y'all, and we will see y'all on Sunday.
Remember, no dinks, no dunks, just dimes, baby.
Ish is so proud of that.
T-shirts incoming for that. Lord. Danny Dimes, hit me up. I can be your marketing director. We're going to make a lot of money, Danny.
With that being said, we will get up out of here for the night. Thank you, guys.